The Miami Hurricanes are gearing up for the home stretch of their season, which despite the 6-1 overall record has hit a little bit of a mid-season lull. These seasons are very long, and it's difficult to get from the start line to the finish line in one piece. And the latest challenge was Saturday's game against Stanford, where we saw Miami trail for most of the first half before finding another gear just before the end of the second quarter and scoring on 6 of its final 7 possessions. Despite the second half performance, the Hurricanes were passed in the polls by Vanderbilt and now sit at number 10 as they go to SMU this weekend. It doesn't change the overall mission, which is to win out, hopefully get to Charlotte for the ACC championship game and make the college football playoff, which Miami would certainly do if it finishes 11-1. But beneath all of this is a subplot. The Hurricanes are not getting progressively better as the season marches forward, if we are honest, and that has to be at the forefront of thoughts as they head to Dallas this weekend to face an SMU team that had its own bad week at the office last week at Wake Forest, but still remains a very dangerous opponent. The Hurricanes have to find a way to recapture the magic that they had earlier in the season when everybody thought that the Canes were the most complete-looking team in college football. We're going to talk about all of that and more tonight as we begin this new edition of CaneSport Live. Hello again, everybody. I'm Gary Ferman, the publisher of CaneSport.com, and we welcome you back to the People Show, CaneSport Live. As usual, it's your show. It's going to be driven by your participation. Many of our guests tonight have pre-registered with us to be on the show. And if you have not and you want to be on the show, all you have to do, you see the instructions at the bottom of the screen. I'll get it on the bottom of the screen. You email us at canesport@yahoo.com, and we will send you the information to come in the studio and join the party. As always, our managing editor at CaneSport, Matt Shodell, will be joining me in the first hour of the show. And then in the second hour, I'm going to be joined by the voice of the fan, Bruce Warner. On a side note tonight, we're 6 days away from the start of Miami Hurricanes basketball season. I spent the afternoon today watching the team practice. So if anybody has any hoops questions that you could feel free to ask them tonight on the show or in the chat, and I will do my best to answer them during the course of the evening. So let's get started with the wit and wisdom of our managing editor, Matt Shodell. And Matt, welcome back to CaneSport Live, your favorite day of the week, I know. And a lot to really unwrap and talk about tonight when you reflect back on the Stanford game, the way it played out, how magnificently the team played in the second half of the game, overwhelming Stanford on both sides of the ball, and now regrouping to go face an SMU team that a few weeks ago we would have thought was a major threat to Miami. And I think that means that they're still somewhat of a threat to Miami, but they're a beaten-up team. They played a very poor game last week against Wake Forest. You've studied them intensively. Give us your opening thoughts on SMU this week and the general state of affairs, so to speak, with the Hurricanes as we begin tonight's show.
Yeah, I mean, Miami's a better team, and SMU's also an injured team on top of it. So clear advantage to Miami. Rhett Lashlee said today Miami is the greatest team he's ever faced, the best team he's ever faced. I mean, he went on and on and on.
Did he really use those terms, or you like?
He said Miami's a national championship level defense, and he was praising Miami over the top, praising Miami. It was almost facetious how much he was. You know how you praise somebody too much? It's like, I don't believe this guy anymore. It was like that level. It's like, oh, you tell your wife, you're the most beautiful woman I've ever seen. Oh my God, you go over and oh, you're the best of this, best of that, whatever. Like at some point they're gonna stop believing you. But anyway, and look, I don't watch Rhett Lashlee press conferences. Mario sort of does the same thing, talking about other teams. But regardless, SMU has massive injury problems. And even if they were fully healthy, they're probably going to lose this game. I mean, this is not the same SMU team that won 11 games the last 2 years. They lost so much of that talent. It's not as good a team. Kevin Jennings was going to be the key to the whole damn thing for them, but he can't move. He's had an ankle injury for 2 weeks, re-aggravated it last weekend. Rhett Lashlee he's going to play, but Rhett Lashlee labeled him questionable for the game on Saturday. I'm sure he's going to play. But they have 2 offensive linemen hurt. They have Chris Johnson's hurt. Their top blocking tight end is hurt, who helps open the run game for them. One of their top defensive ends is hurt. Like, I'm not sure any of those guys are going to play. They certainly haven't been practicing as of today, according to Brett Lashley. So, they have massive, massive issues, and you could see it, in the last game. That's when you saw Kevin Jennings couldn't move. You saw that they missed the speed at running back, right? They couldn't get the running game going. They scored 12 points. They had 1 touchdown. And the big thing here is if they're missing those 2 offensive linemen, like somebody said the line already moved from 10 to 12.5 or something, or 10.5 to 12.5. If they're missing those 2 offensive linemen, Kevin Jennings ain't getting out of there on anything other than a stretcher, okay? Like, they may as well just sit him in that game. So that's going to be a massive, massive advantage for Miami. If he can't move, Kevin Jennings already can't move. And if they're missing 2 offensive linemen, it's game over. I mean, unless Miami pretends it's Stanford again, which they're not going to. So very optimistic about that. But I do also want to bring up, while I have my little soliloquy to prevent Greg from coming on for as long as possible, because I'm out of here at 9. People who watch our morning show, they seem upset that we share our opinions on shows like this and on shows like the morning show. Like, we'll say what we think about Shannon Dawson's offense and how we feel about certain aspects of what he does, even certain aspects of what Corey Heatherman does, what Mario Cristobal does, time management. We'll share our opinions on this. And they complain on the YouTube channel. They're like, why aren't you telling them that in the press conferences? And I don't think people understand that those are, you can call them entertainment shows, you can call them editorialism. Our job as reporters isn't to tell coaches what we feel and what we believe. Our job as reporters is to ask them legitimate, open-ended questions that they can then answer. Just because we disagree with their answers, it's not our job to say, that doesn't make sense, coach. I believe that you should be doing this instead, or I don't think you should be doing that. It doesn't seem to work. That's not our job. Our job is, why are you seem to constantly running up the middle? Why are you not attacking the C and D gap? Not, I think that you should be doing more pitches, and I think you should be doing, like, that's not.
Yeah, our opinions don't necessarily matter in those.
Right, but people are confused why. Right, people are confused why we share our opinions in this show, but don't share our opinions in the press conferences. I'm trying to explain the difference between being a reporter and being a an entertainment person or a fan, which we put on our fan hat, quite honestly, in these shows. It's not so much entertainment; it's just our fan hat versus being a reporter. It's the same thing as Greg being a human being and a robot, right? He seems like a robot on these CaneSport live shows, but I'm sure in real life he's a human being, right? So, all right, I'm done. You can bring on whoever.
I was watching. I'll show you real quick. I'm not going to bring him on the show yet, but Sebastian's holding up signs for us. Matt, leave Shannon Dawson alone. Do not bother Shannon Dawson. And look, we are fans of Shannon Dawson here at CaneSport. He is a fantastic human being. But we saw this a couple of years ago, and we're seeing it a little bit this year, I think. And he gets a little tight sometimes in these seasons. And like, if you look at the way that he attacked offense early in the season, starting with the Notre Dame game, I mean, he came in with a magnificent game plan. He was attacking down the field. They were still running the same running plays through the A and B gaps, but it wasn't so overwhelming to people because, well, A, they were working. Notre Dame wasn't prepared for them and to the degree they needed to be, and B, it was being mixed in by plays down the field. And I don't remember. I'll try to find the stats here in a moment on the game, the Notre Dame game, but Miami had a reasonably good night throwing the football in that game. Carson Beck, he had 205 yards passing. He was 20 of 31, had 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. And they were a legitimate dual threat team. I mean, Tony had 82 yards receiving. CJ Daniels had 46, including that great catch. And, they sprinkled another. I mean, it's obvious, like, this is not like a high octane passing offense. Okay. And I don't think we're going to see that this year, but those game plans that he had earlier in the season were really, really, really good. And Carson Beck had a tough game against Louisville, no argument. But, to me, it looked to me last week like Shannon Dawson was letting that game affect the way he was calling the Stanford game. Now, he's not going to say this publicly, and we don't know this for sure, but we are just watching, and it was an extremely conservative game plan with, yes, the usual array of runs, many of them up the middle. But even the passing game was mostly built, with a couple of exceptions, around bubble screens. And, they were not attacking field the way that they had earlier in the season. So the college football world has taken notice of this. I mean, you win a game by 35 points and you drop in the polls. And that's showing you, like, you are not fooling us, Miami. We saw what your first half looked like last week. We saw that you were losing to a horrific Stanford team for most of the first half. And we weren't ignoring that. And we understand that you overwhelmed them in the second half, and you had every reason to do so. You're a better team. You're a bigger team, a stronger team, a faster team. And you didn't travel 6 hours across the country to come play the football game. So there was every reason why Miami should have dominated in the second half. But because of the way that they came out and the way they played the game in the first half, they dropped in the polls to number 10. Okay, now I'm not sure if the college football playoff poll starts. I think it starts in another week or so. And that's the one that's going to really matter at the end of the year. But and really how you impress that committee is the poll that matters. But I just think that Miami has to get back to playing a more well-rounded offensive brand of football. I mean, people were calling Miami the most complete team in the country earlier in the year. Now Miami is being totally disrespected. Nobody even considers them the best team in the ACC. I saw ESPN's college football writer, Andrea Adelson, put out an ACC poll of hers today where Miami was listed as the number 3 team in the ACC even. So, look, I mean, she
also had Miami as the top team in the country, and Ruben Baden winning the Heisman. So I mean, one game
she did a few. She did a few.
Nobody saw that Louisville game coming, and it wasn't a case of Louisville being such a great team. It was a case of Miami's, honestly, the game plans on both sides of the ball sort of failing.
Yeah, no question. I mean, no question. Yeah. But my, the thing is, I felt that Shannon Dawson let that game and Carson Beck's performance in that game influence the way that he attacked Stanford. Now, if I'm wrong, I apologize, but that's what it looked like to me. And
he reigned in Carson, of course. I mean, that's what
he reigned in Carson. And you're not winning. I don't believe they can win anything this year reigning in Carson.
Stop taking my material, bro.
No, I don't. That was my material. That was my column last week. Okay, I don't think that they can win at the end of the year reigning in Carson Beck. I think they have to expand Carson Beck and become a true diversified offense, so that when they play the Ohio States, when they play Oregon, when they play Alabama or Georgia or an Ole Miss, or teams that can score and are, that you're going to need points. Like Miami lost the Louisville game. Louisville only scored 24 points. So you're going to need to be able to score later in the year. So to me, I hope they use these next weeks, not just to win these games, but to build on what they did earlier in the season offensively, to where when they get to hopefully the playoff, they are a legit threat to win the thing and not just get there. That would be my mission. If Mario called me up, which he won't, if he called me up and said, Gary, what do you think we should do? I would say, I think you need to get more aggressive offensively and expand the offensive packages and the offensive playbook and get more guys involved than just Malachi Toney and Mark Fletcher with an occasional sprinkle of CJ Daniels. You have a lot of guys that can make contributions. It was good to see Tony Johnson get reintroduced to everybody last week. But I think you need more. I want to, if JoJo Trader is not going to make a contribution to this season, then he's just one big distraction at this point. It was good to see Josh Moore back out there. I don't think they should hold what happened in the Louisville game against Elijah Lofton for the rest of the season. I think he should be more involved in the offense. I think they They need to get the ball outside for some diversity. I don't think we've seen a traditional screen pass to a running back the whole year. We're not seeing draw plays. We're not seeing an intermediate passing game. There are so many ways that this offense can get better, and I hope that they are challenging themselves to do that, because that's what it's going to take to win at the end of the year. And I'm not going to leave the Pittsburgh game out either, because that team is getting better week to week right now, and Pittsburgh could be pretty good when Miami goes there Thanksgiving weekend if it stays healthy in its current state.
Listen, while you've been chit-chatting over here, there's a couple of questions that I want to answer for people on the right side of the screen. So Phil L. I'm dismissive of the ACC championship game, not because I don't want them to win the ACC championship, but because it's a punishment if they lose. Okay, that's the only reason that I don't like it. If there was no punishment, if they're still going to make the playoffs, it's just an extra game, and you have a chance to win a title, and no one gets hurt, I'm fine with it.
Let me chime in on this, because it may or may not be. Because think about this:
the upside is less.
Win out, and you're in the top 5.
I understand, but the upside is less than the downside, right?
No, because if you win out and you're in the top 4, you're going to get a first round bye in the playoff.
Well, that's worth it, but I'd rather just be in the playoffs, right? If you got to play a first game, the chances they're going to be in the top 4 right now seem fairly remote, having watched this team, but you might think differently, okay? If they're 5 to 8, you're still playing the first round, you're just at home, and I'd rather not take the risk of missing the playoffs. And you have an away game, whatever. That's just me. And then Epinephrine likes to keep posting about the McGahee and Nevin Shapiro thing.
Yeah, I don't know anything about. because McGahee went on Nevin Shapiro. Did they?
Yeah, like they're on TikTok, whatever. They went to a game together. I don't know. I mean, they can ban whoever the hell they want. I mean, who was it? I don't know. There've been multiple coaches who have banned. I think was it Diaz or Golden who banned players from the sidelines. Like, if they want to pick out one player they think's hanging out with the wrong crowd or the wrong guy or somebody who's trying to destroy the program, like, let them. That's their decision. I don't personally have a problem with it. I'm not going to say, oh, I like Willis McGahee a lot. I do. But I'm not going to say Mario has to let Willis McGahee into the game if he feels like Willis McGahee is doing things that are detrimental to the program. So that's their choice, okay? He posted it twice. That's my answer.
Phil L. says that if you don't think, and he's talking to you, Matt Shodell, if you don't think this is a national championship level roster, then why are you so dismissive of the ACC championship game? You might as well try to finish the season with a trophy. Absolutely, Phil. I mean, this program needs to win something. There's only one team that wins the national championship at the end of the year. Everybody else in the playoff is going to lose. So, yes, it's important. I mean, if you can't win something significant.
You know what? You'll change your damn mind if they lose in the ACC title game and don't make the playoffs. All right? I guess that wasn't worth it.
I disagree.
If Carson Beck gets hurt, let me talk. If Carson Beck gets hurt in the ACC title game, you'll say it wasn't worth it. But everything's worth it theoretically right now. Play the extra week so we have less rest, less time to prepare for the playoffs, whatever. We can win an ACC title. Hip, hip, hooray. I mean, that's not for me, man. Unless you're getting a bye and being in the top 4, it's not worth the risk. If you're going to play and you are top 4, then it's worth the risk. Period.
If you're going to play football, play for something. Otherwise, what are you doing it all for?
So why don't they score up the
candy? You're paying your roster $20-something million. Fans are spending millions and millions on tickets. What else? I mean,
Miami doesn't need the money. If Miami needed the money, the extra game, fine, but they don't.
Play to win something. Not have. You know what? I've had it with you. I'm going to stick Greg on you. Greg, where the hell are you? All I see is lights. Help me, please. I can't take any more Shodell. I'm turning him. I'm turning him over to you. Okay. Don't you agree that if you're going to play college football, that you should be playing to win something? And if you limit yourself to only winning a national title, and that's the only thing you can ever accomplish, you're not going to accomplish it very often.
I don't know. It's a tough decision. I don't know.
Come on, Greg, let him have it, man. I'm counting on you.
No, I have no bones to pick with Matt tonight.
Let's go.
All right, listen. I got a bone to pick with Mario, though. Did he ever hear the quarterback sneak? We got stopped on 4th and 1 with his great offensive line. Why can't we? Carson Beck, what is he, 6'4"? He can't get a half a yard on a quarterback sneak? What's going on?
That's nitpicking, Greg, honestly.
What do you mean it's nitpicking?
Their conversion rate on 3rd and short's got to be 95%. I mean, the center missed the block. That one didn't work. Everyone's on the center. They think he sucks now, and now you're gonna be on Mario for not quarterback sneaking.
And remember, Carson barely takes any snaps under center. So I mean, I don't even think he knows how to take a snap under center at this point. I haven't seen him take one.
Okay. By the way, the calendar's turning to November on Saturday. That's not a good sign for Mr. Cristobal. His record is atrocious in November and December.
Well, maybe he'll improve on it this November.
I hope so. Now, don't you think we should expect a little more out of 5 stars like Blunt, Lightfoot, Scott? Really? Don't you think they should be progressing a little more than they have been?
Well, Blunt's actually playing well. Lightfoot's a true freshman who's very underweight and a real,
No, Lightfoot's a sophomore.
Second year.
Lightfoot shouldn't. Lightfoot is too light to be an every down defense.
Well, he pressures the quarterback.
Yeah, he's good on third downs, but they started him last game and quickly realized they can't do that.
He's been doing pretty well. He's just not an every down defensive end, and that's how they had to use him last week. And it was a little rough at times, but Lightfoot's been progressing fine. Justin Scott is almost invisible. I agree.
Yeah, that's what's weird to me. I don't understand that.
I don't either.
That's
but
crazy.
He is almost invisible. And when they recruited Justin Scott, a lot of people who I trust in the football world told me that Justin Scott needed to be an offensive lineman, that he wasn't going to be a dominant defensive lineman. And so far, he hasn't been here in year 2. Like I said, you would barely even know he's out there. And who was the first one you mentioned? Blunt. Blunt is playing very well. The only problem with Blunt is he should have redshirted last year, just because there was no reason. He was a young freshman. He needed to redshirt, which he basically did redshirt. And now he's just starting to get it. And he's coming on, and he's going to be great. I mean, you could see when you watch him practice, even warm up before games, you could see the ability level of this kid. I mean, he's going to be a really good player. The problem is he's going to be a really good player. Well, hopefully, I mean, he's doing okay this year, but hopefully next year he's going to be a star level player. And then he's going to go to the National Football League, and it's going to be like he came here for a cup of coffee. And he's better than that. Like he's really a good football player.
What happened to Cole McConaughey?
He's there.
Cole McConaughey, I thought McConaughey's been hurt. No,
he's back. He's back healthy. He's out there, but they're just not playing him right now. He missed training camp. They're just not ready to put him out there yet.
Okay, 2 quick points that I'm out of here. Okay, the portal is on January 2nd to the 16th, I believe, and there's only a single portal. So all these coaches are going to have to know who's leaving and who's not, because don't you think they'll be more inclined to pick more high school kids now that you don't know what you're going to get in the portal?
That's the best question you've ever asked, Greg. Can I take this one, Gary?
This is all you, Matt.
This is my wheelhouse, Greg.
This is absolutely Matt's wheelhouse.
Free agents.
This is his most favorite subject in the entire world.
It's my favorite subject. Outstanding question. I have 0 bones to pick with you now. Okay, so they've changed a lot of things. And honestly, the biggest change isn't that they narrowed down the portal window. The biggest change to me that has the most intense, huge overriding impact that no one's talking about, they took away the ability of graduates to transfer.
Oh, I didn't know.
That used to be a thing, which sort of negated the whole window, right? Because people are graduating now in 2.5 years. So someone can graduate after spring practice as a redshirt sophomore and go somewhere else for the first day of fall camp. You can't do that anymore. People can try to follow the Xavier Lucas route, but good luck with that. I mean, you have to have 0 contact, no phone records, nothing. I mean, it's not viable. So the big issue now, and I've been talking to some parents of players about this, is they are stuck. It's almost like the old days where the program owns you once you sign, because when a player stays at a program, when a player goes in the portal, he's in the portal. Like, he doesn't just have to come out of the portal by the end of the portal window, right? So there'll be hundreds, maybe even thousands of players in the portal window. The portal window closes, those players stay in the portal once you're in it. Okay, you can sign anytime you want up until the final day to enroll in classes in the fall. Once you're in the portal window, you don't have to do spring practice at a school. Okay, but those players at Miami, for instance, the parents of those players at Miami who think their son is next in line to start are very concerned that their son won't be in the portal. The portal window will close, and a day later, a month later, 2 months later, Miami's going to pay a bunch of money to get a kid to come in. And now that's the new starter over their son. And they're very concerned, and they want to meet with Mario before the portal window opens to find out what his plan is for their child. But how is Mario going to do that when they're in the midst of possibly preparing for the playoffs, possibly preparing for the SEC title game? You know, there's a very small window after your season ends. What is it, 5 days, Gary, or something like that, for the portal window to extend?
5, yes.
If you're in the playoffs. To meet with 85 parents in a 5-day window and tell them what they want to hear, like, you haven't even figured it out at that point. If you're Mario, you're not thinking that far ahead with who's in the portal, who's going to take over your son's job. He's going to have no answers. So this is a massive mystery, a massive problem for college football. They've done a huge disservice having the portal window in the middle of the playoffs. And it's going to be a disaster. It's going to be a disaster. And so you're right. You know, I don't want to take too much time, but you're right. I think it goes back to the old formula. You got to recruit and develop, because this portal window, the way it is now, you can't rely on it. It's going to be so bad for team morale, for guys who are stuck there and now are behind a portal guy who ended up coming when I could have gone in the portal. You didn't tell me. You know, they're going to be mad. Like, this is their future. This is their chance to play, to prove to the NFL that they should be making millions and you know, helping their family and their friends, whatever it may be. So yeah, it's a disaster waiting to happen. I hope Mario recognizes that he's going to have to do a lot more high school stuff, developing stuff, versus taking 20 guys out of the portal and making guys who are stuck that didn't go in the portal have to compete for reps.
All right. One last, I got a question.
Thank you, JR. Thank you, JR Barr. You're right. He says the question started when Matt was 6 years old. I talked way too long. I'm sorry.
I got a question about the basketball team.
All right.
They have the whole new roster. Lucas is going to have to be John Wooden to put this together.
Let me tell you something. I was as skeptical as anybody would be a few months ago. You know, I mean, you know, because, you know, you're hiring a new head coach. You have no players. You know, to me, the whole thing seemed like a recipe, you know, for disaster. I will tell you, 6 months later, that couldn't be the furthest from the truth. The University of Miami, they more than doubled the NIL budget for basketball, and they hired Jay Lucas and took the dice roll with Jay Lucas, but they gave him the resources that he needs to be successful. And that's a huge difference. We've never seen that happen before when this school hired inexperienced head coaches. I mean, if you know, you go back to like the Randy Shannon days, like, it was ridiculous. Randy was buying his own furniture. Okay, now it's open budget. They have whatever they need, and you have a team full of players that are making $1 million. There's several guys on this team making $1 million this year, and the roster is really, really impressive. And I was out there today. I watched the entire practice for like 2.5 hours, and man, I just, like, you wait till you see this team. I mean, they have centers that are big. They look like an NBA G League team, quite honestly. The size, the athleticism, the aggressiveness with which they play defense. Like, I'm not going to make crazy predictions. Matt will jump all over me, but they look to me like an NCAA tournament team for sure. And I think that everyone is going to be blown away by this team and the way that they look and the way that they play. And they've got some really good basketball players. You know, we'll have stories. I'm not going to go through everything now and bore everybody that, because not everybody's interested in basketball. But Greg, I will tell you, you are going to be stunned by how good this team looks and how good I think they can be. If they turn out to be as good as I think they can be, you're going to be shocked. Great job by Jay Lucas and his staff. The way they attacked recruiting and the level of players they found. They got a few Europeans. They have a 19-year-old European. He's going to be the backup center. I mean, this kid's a grown man. They got kids from Turkey and they have a Slovakian forward that looks incredible to me, who's a freshman. The European kids are all freshmen. So you're going to be very, very impressed. I think, Greg, just have patience for another few days. Season starts Monday. I think you're going to be very happy with what you see from UM basketball this year.
All right. If we lose this week, Luke Nickel next week.
Let's not go there.
All right.
Hey, just before you leave, didn't you want everything 305 for something last week? You asked me.
No, I let him off the hook because
okay, so that ship sailed. Okay, all right. Well, then, Greg, have a great night. Thank you for getting us going tonight, and we'll talk to you next week.
All right, take care.
You got it. All right, let's go to the Italian Stallion, James. How you doing this week, James?
Hey, I'm good. How you guys doing?
Doing good. Your microphone's not great, but
yeah, I was trying to figure that out of what I needed to do.
It's a little staticky, but it's better now. Go ahead.
Is it better? Okay. Yeah. No, I was just I wanted to get on last week, unfortunately, but I had something else going on Tuesday night. I was just so disappointed, unfortunately, with the performance Friday night, and I'm glad that you mentioned something, Gary, in CaneSport that following Monday. There's just something weird that just always something happens, and that was my concern. It wasn't the big games I was concerned with; it was just the intensity and being prepared when we played these ACC games, because we're still everybody's Super Bowl when it comes to these ACC teams. I know we haven't won anything significant as of late, but that's just always been my issue, just matching the intensity, being prepared. And I think us as fans, like you said, we spend the money on the merchandise and the tickets and everything and the travel. And the money that they're pumping in right now, we should be able to beat these teams. And realistically, I don't have faith on Saturday. I really don't. I wasn't surprised that we have an 11 o'clock Central Time start. And thank you, the ESPN and the ACC. They really know how to help Miami whenever they can, and so forth. But it is what it is. And I know that they have an injury report. I know that they have some guys that might be out. But I mean, it just seems that somebody just always has this significant, awesome game against us, and we just are never able to match that intensity. That's just my things right now. Just off the top of my head. And Gary, keep calling it out, man. You have been right more times than not. And I think that you've gotten criticism over the years from fans and stuff like that. And when you've called it, you've called it. Matt, you as well. And don't shy away from it now. Please do not do that. So, because I think that you guys have helped keep this program accountable to make that next step. And if they need to make that next step themselves, you guys don't play the games. We don't play the games. They play the games. And now they're getting paid legitimate amounts of money, if that's fair to say.
Yeah, I don't think accountable is the word. Listen, we want to see them do well.
Of course.
Okay? And it's like when I see them stepping on their own feet, it's like, listen, I love all these guys. Like I say all the time, Shannon Dawson, he's a great dude, man. He's like how can you not like Shannon Dawson? He gets a little tight to me sometimes during seasons. And, a couple years ago we saw it, and, last year it was the Cam Ward show. Everything was great until the end of the year when it wasn't. And me personally, I want to see them succeed this year. And I was really annoyed by the Louisville game because I felt like they didn't show up ready to play. And I felt like they were badly outcoached in that game. And I would hope that that's more unacceptable to the people inside the program than to anybody out here on the outside. You gotta be on your when you're playing these teams. And Louisville, we knew Louisville was a good team. They have one of the best play callers in college football. They have a really good running back in Isaac Brown. That wide receiver, Chris Bell, is outstanding. You put those pieces together and, you're going to get beats. You're not going to have a perfect game defensively and shut them down most of the time. The defense held them to 24 points. You have to win that football game, okay? If you're going to be a championship team, you have to be able to get into the 30s in that game. So I don't think it's holding them to account. I think it's wanting them to do well. And I watched that game last week, and I understood, like, Shannon Dawson was probably spooked by 5 interceptions by Carson Beck against Louisville that may have blown up their season. Like, yeah, that would really spook anybody. But to me, you have to detach from that, and you have to keep your eye on the prize. And when you look at some of these teams around college football, a lot of them can score. And yeah, your defense is good. It's not the greatest defense in the history of defenses. You're probably not shutting out Ohio State. You're probably not shutting out Alabama. You're probably not shutting out Ole Miss and teams like that. Probably not going to shut out Oregon. I can go on and on. But the teams in the playoffs are probably going to be good enough that you're not going to shut them out. And I think you got to be able to get into the 30s if you're going to win those games. And I'm assuming everybody doesn't want to just limp or sneak your way there and then get killed in the playoffs. And I think this team can win in the playoffs. I think it's built to win in the playoffs. And I think they have to push themselves offensively to get more well-rounded, to get more guys involved, use all the playmakers they have on their roster, and become a more potent offensive team than what they are as we sit here today. That's where I stand on the whole thing. And some people don't like people giving opinions on what they're doing. I mean, I don't know if Shannon Dawson watches this show or not, or whether he would agree with me or not agree with me. I really don't know. I know he's tired of the criticism of the run game. I think we can say that pretty safely based on this week's press conference, which I hope everybody had a chance to see. But listen, I think they have to get better offensively, and that's why I'm saying it.
Yeah, and you need to. And honestly, I mean, you got to just look at it from this standpoint, Gary, and I agree with everything that you said right there. The fact is when you bring up something that you were down on the field and the intensity wasn't there for Louisville, how could it not be for a team like that, with especially guys in that are on their team from South Florida? A lot of our guys played against their guys. Am I wrong by saying that? And the fact is that game was close last year. You should have wanted to go out there and beat them as bad as you wanted to beat South Florida. That intensity, and that's what was missing. I felt right off the bat. How was it against Stanford?
I felt that way. I didn't see what I thought was the same level of juice that I saw earlier in the year. And listen, we can make excuses. The 2 open weeks, threw them out of rhythm. Blah blah blah. We can say a million things to excuse it, but then to see the game play out the way it did, it really put an exclamation point on it for me. But yeah, I mean, listen, we do the best we can. We try to give everybody the best analysis and the most honest analysis that we can give you guys. I mean, we're all very experienced in this business, and we do the best we can for everybody to give you guys solid opinions on what we're seeing.
Absolutely. Well, and I'll tell you this, I'm pleased to hear that about Miami basketball, because I am a Miami basketball fan as well. I knew when we hired Jai Lucas away from Duke that was a stellar hire. The guy can recruit. Their defense took a little bit of a dive there in March. I think that if Jai Lucas was still on their staff, they may have not lost that game to Houston in the Final Four. He even brought a recruit that he had committed there to Miami, and Shelton Henderson. So they've got some solid guys and pieces, and in a conference that traditionally has been good, realistically there's really only 3 or 4 teams that anybody's being talked about, Duke being one of them, and Miami doesn't even play them this year on that on that unbalanced schedule. So
Henderson kid's a grown man.
Yeah.
boy, is he an
it's a 5-star. That's what happens when you get 5 stars. So legit 5 stars. So yeah.
He's a big boy.
Matt, I wanted to ask you something. In your opinion, and I know that this is looking way ahead, at what point do we get a chance to maybe evaluate of what we do next year with what we have on our roster? Obviously, it's going to be a year-to-year thing in terms of, the money, who's going to come back, who's happy, who's not, and you can't keep everybody happy. But I saw a lot of young guys getting a chance out there and making the most of it. I granted against the opponent, but you don't get better if you don't get live game reps, okay? And we need to utilize these type of kids. And truth be told, what I'm wanting to know is, do we have a quarterback next year on this roster, or are we going to maybe go that portal route again available? I guess my question is, why would these guys stay on our roster then? And why don't they just be great somewhere else?
All right. Well, I'm going to go back a little bit because, you know, the Stallone of CaneSport was talking a lot. Ferman was talking a lot. Shodell couldn't say anything. So now I'm going to go back for a minute and just address things. So something that neither of you really spoke about, this idea of complementary football that the team's playing. They're trying to win each game on its own, but with the same system on offense every damn week, which is what makes fans frustrated, right? They're winning with sort of boring football. Complementary football, which to them means basically keep the defense fresh because we don't have any depth on defense. So let the offense grind it out, you know, control the clock, convert 3rd and 1s, that sort of stuff, okay? To me, that's not going to be good enough to win a national title. I want the team to be able to compete to win a national title. I wish that just starting this week, you know, if Carson Beck can't throw a ball down the field more than 9 yards without getting intercepted every other pass, put someone else in now. You know, get ready for next year like you're talking about, right? Like work for the future. What is in the future? Because what's the point of playing if we know what they're doing now isn't going to be good enough against the great teams in the playoffs? You know, it's barely going to be good enough to beat the teams that are coming up, and we'll find out. But if they barely squeak by SMU or, God forbid, lose that game, I guarantee you'll be sitting here next week saying, what went wrong? Well, it was the offense. The offense was too conservative, because we know the defense is good enough. And they're reigning in the offense because of Carson Beck and because of complementary football, and they got to stop doing that. All right, I don't want to talk too long, so we'll get to the other question you had. When do you evaluate the roster for next year and what we have? You're seeing a lot more of them using younger guys this year, I think, than we did last year, which I like. You know, Malachi Tony's going to be here for a while, right? You know, I know he's not having a great year, but Elijah Lawson will be back. The offensive line's going to have to be totally reshaped, but they have so many young offensive linemen that I think are going to be really good from SJ to down the line. There's a bunch of linemen just waiting to step up. They'll be fine in the offensive line. They got obviously a 5-star coming in who will start from day one at tackle. And then you have the young receivers, right? Joshua Moore is a future star. Believe me when I tell you that. Him and Malachi Tony, you don't even need another receiver on the roster. Just those two guys, and I could play the other 3rd receiver spot.
You need another receiver.
No, they don't. This is my question. And then on defense, you know, you see these young guys are going to be back next year. You know, Justin Scott in year 3 better be really good. Armando Blunt should be really good. Lightfoot in year 3 should be really good. Like these guys, it's just because you're losing Ruben Baden and Akeem Messidor doesn't mean, oh, it's over on the defensive line. Like this
Hayden Lowe will be back.
Yeah, Hayden Lowe is going to be great. This is how Mario has built his rosters in the past. He's doing it again, which is why I think it's actually fine that the transfer portal is going to have much less emphasis. I know somebody mentioned, oh, but the agents will just start talking earlier. Like they haven't already been talking earlier. The agents have been doing the same thing. It's just they have a small window. Now their clients can't transfer after the window's over, even if they graduate. It's a much different game than it used to be. And the players who don't go in the portal could be screwed, which parents are freaking out about. Which goes to your point, why would guys stay? To me, unless colleges are allowed to sign student athletes to long-term contracts, which I think they will be allowed to and will start doing, but in lieu with some outs here and there. But in lieu of that, to me, if my child's a really good player in the program, he's going in the portal every year. Because you can come back right before spring football and just wait and see what it looks like. Are they bringing someone in my position that I don't want to have to deal with when I could start at another great school? You know, not that you want to run away from competition, but you're playing for money, right? You're playing for money. What's your NIL value? Well, at Miami, it's this. I don't really know what it is unless I'm in the portal necessarily. I know agents will ask certain programs, but once you're in the portal, it even opens some more doors, right? And other teams can get very desperate and pay you more than maybe you're worth. So you're right. It's an unknown. And you haven't got a full evaluation on the roster for next year until, honestly, next spring, which is fine. That's how it is every year. And then the quarterback next year is not on the roster. That's my opinion. I don't think the quarterback, I think it's going to be a portal guy. I think it has to be a portal guy. I think it better be a portal guy. I know coaches are very high on Emory Williams, but again, what we've seen has been too inconsistent for me to say we don't need a portal guy. And then next spring practice comes and you can't get another transfer at that point. You can't. You know, unless somebody's still sitting in the portal window that decided not to go anywhere for the spring. Good luck finding a top quarterback that decided not to get in the system for the spring and take his $5 million, okay? So they have to get a quarterback before next spring practice in the portal. Let them compete with Emory if Emory even stays, which I'm not sure he will, quite honestly. As a matter of fact, I'd say it's less than 50-50 he stays at this point because I do think they go in the portal. And then you got Luke Nickel and these younger guys who can compete with that and be the next guy hopefully after that. But that's how I feel.
Let me just add, James, you know, they have to go in the portal because they owe it to the program to go get the best quarterback they can get and have that person compete with Emory and Luke Nickel and Judd Anderson as an extension. I don't believe that either one of the two guys that are here now, at least I have not heard this, have performed so outworldly on the practice field this fall that the coaches absolutely must commit to them as one of them as the starting quarterback for next year and not go in the portal and get a quarterback to compete with them. Okay. That could change. I don't know if it will or not, but I don't see how they don't go in the portal and get the best quarterback. And if Emory Williams or Luke Nickel has a problem with that, which they might, or their families might, or their agents might, or whatever, they might have a problem with that. The onus is on them to be better than anybody in the portal. It's like, if you're not better than anybody that's going to go in the portal, then you don't have a beef, no matter what position you play. Okay. So, it's the responsibility of the players to get good enough. Okay. It's the responsibility of the coaches to not deceive themselves that their players are better than what they are, because that's how you don't become good enough in the fall. You look at the contributions that, say, a guy like Marty Brown made earlier this year when Jordan Lyle was hurt. If Marty Brown wasn't on this roster and they hadn't decided we need an extra running back, you would have been playing with a freshman probably in Pringle, or a sophomore who hadn't done much in Wheatley Humphrey. And that may or may not have been as good as Marty Brown, who contributed greatly to those wins earlier in the season. That's just one example. But I think the onus is on the players to get good enough. And until you have a quarterback that you can unquestionably say, and coaches are, they're supposed to know this, okay, that you can unquestionably say is better or going to be better than anybody that's going to pop in the portal. And we are not going in the portal this year to get a quarterback. I think you got to go in the portal and get a quarterback.
Gotcha. Just two last quick questions. Gary, do you think that with how the numbers have kind of changed a little bit with Fletcher, he might come back next year to be a part of that? I hope Lyle also gets some more touches as well.
I think there's a very live chance that Mark Fletcher is back next year, and I think he should come back. Unless his NFL draft stock skyrockets into the first couple rounds, I think he can make more money at Miami than he can make on a practice squad in the National Football League. So I think coming back for another year at Miami has to be on his radar. We haven't discussed it with him, but he has a mom who. His dad passed last year, but he's got a mom who is a sharp lady, and she very much has her feet on the ground, and it's just a wonderful, wonderful woman. And she'll make sure he gets the right advice. I'm pretty sure of that. This is not a kid that you have to worry about doing something knee jerk or that might not be in his best interest. I think he'll get good advice, and we'll see what that ends up being.
Gotcha. Last thing that I have for you guys, and it kind of pertains to Miami. Are you surprised that the other teams have made the decisions to fire their coaches? And a lot of these guys started at the same time as Mario, Brian Kelly and the guy from Virginia Tech. Are you surprised that these programs have pulled that? And do you think Florida State ends up doing it if they don't do anything else the rest of the year, even though they claim they don't have the money to do it?
I don't know about Matt. Matt, you could chime in. I'm not surprised at all, because it's a competition for the top coaches. And, if you're going to make the decision and your season is over, essentially, in terms of making the playoff, you may as well put yourself in the market for that new coach sooner rather than later, because everyone's going to be shopping from the same aisle in the grocery store. And so no, I'm not. As far as Florida State, I think if they lose this week to Wake Forest, I don't know that they'll have a choice. I think they would like to not have to buy out Mike Norvell, because I think he's owed a lot of money, and I think they would rather put money into players, which they badly need at Florida State. Matt, any additional thoughts?
Well, first Lorenzo. Okay, I see your message, Lorenzo, but they've always done that. But yeah, it's all money based, right? There's a tipping point of diminishing returns where if you bring that coach back the following year, are your boosters, your big money boosters who are basically supporting your NIL program, are they going to disappear? Are they demanding that you get rid of this guy, or my $20 million I pledged over the next 10 years are gone? And whatever those numbers are, it really is just math. And if Florida State, the tipping point hasn't happened yet, it'd have to be a lot of money to negate what he's already owed. But that's why these coaches are getting fired. I think not that they can start an immediate search. They're not starting immediate searches. Okay, so it's not like they had to fire a guy yesterday. But you have to appease your big money boosters who are threatening to pull their money, or say, hey, if you can go chase this guy, I'll give you this much money. These are programs where some of these boosters just sort of have unlimited money for the average person. I mean, for some of these people, $50 million is like nothing. The Gary Fermans of the world. And so that's what we're talking about. And some of these programs they don't have a choice. And we've seen it happen at Miami in the past, by the way, too, even without NIL, where people who usually donate money, whether it's to facilities or whatever, are like, I'm not giving you another cent unless you get rid of this moron who's heading the program. It's happened multiple times. Gary and I have covered it. So this is just what's happening at other programs right now. And I'm glad it's not happening at Miami.
Yeah, no, I'm tired of that. So, guys, I appreciate you. I hope we kick some butt on Saturday morning and just get on a roll. And hopefully Mario can prove the naysayers wrong and get this November thing off his back. He needs it. So, but go Canes as always, and appreciate you guys. Keep doing your thing.
Thanks for coming on. And I got to boot you from the studio because we need the spot.
I'm leaving.
Yep. All right. Thanks, James. Let's see. Let me take care of that real fast. And okay, so I just real quick wanted to throw this up. 904 Hurricane. Milan Paris is the type of wide receiver Miami has been missing. He is a commitment this evening. I am equally impressed with him, 904, and I think he's going to be a good player for the Hurricanes. If you guys want to check him out, go check out our coverage on CaneSport.com, and you can see his highlight tapes and so forth and so on. But yes, very, 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 very solid commitment tonight from the Hurricanes. All right, let's go to Kane. Kane's been waiting patiently over there.
No, it don't matter, man. I ain't gonna get
you like you're ready to go on to an igloo.
Man, it's cold out here. This is Virginia. It's raining, nasty, all that good stuff. But I'm not even gonna curse tonight. Here's what I'll say, Matt, Pro Focus, whoever.
Yeah.
Damn them people, man. I get tired of hearing this. Every Pro Focus, this player, that. Man, the hell with them people. Well, I did curse. Sorry. Forget them people, man. They don't know anything. Y'all know more than them. Some old guys brushing their teeth, taking their teeth out, dipping them in the water and bull. Ain't nobody listening to that crap. Now,
it sounds like you know some of them.
Well, I probably do because I'm old shit. What the hell is the difference? Now I done cursed. You done pissed me off. Okay, let's get back to it. Yeah, we didn't look good, but I looked at Oregon, and they were home, and they only won 21-7 to a team that's 2-6. Like I said, the bias for Miami is so real, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Miami can do no right, even when they do right. But when they do wrong, we get messed on, talked about. Now, real quick, the offensive line, they haven't been playing with that edge. I looked at some of the game over again. Center was getting blowed up. Mario even missed some blocks. And Cooper, he didn't talk. They ain't talk too much. But when he engaged, when he locked in, he'll drive his man all the way down the field.
Yeah.
Stay consistent. Can you help me with that? What's the problem with him?
You're right. Less show business, more force.
More business, play ball. Now, Dante Simpson, that young man, he going to be good too, right? He's a D tackle.
He's doing well for a freshman.
Yeah, he's doing well to be a young man. So it ain't a whole lot to talk about. Like I said before, all Miami got to do is win. You're your own worst enemy. Like Matt said, we're going up there. SMU and they banged all up, but that whatever it is on the side of that helmet, they just want to just bury us. So if we play the game we're supposed to play, we'll be fine. And how come other 10-2 teams can go to the playoffs but not Miami? I'm just asking. Help me with that, and I'm getting out of here.
Well, we don't know that yet. We got to see. We got to see what everybody's record is at the end of the year.
Well, it's going to be some losses somewhere there, but it just seemed like Miami, if we lose, we're done. We can't go to the playoffs. Okay, the ACC, I would love to have, but if we don't get it, I get what you're saying, Matt. I'd rather sit at home and be in the playoffs. I get what you're saying, Gary. Well, damn, get an ACC because we ain't won nothing, so if we get beat in the playoffs, it's vice versa. I tell you what, just win.
Just be good enough to win. How about that? Let's not look for an easy way out, easy way in.
Well,
they were good enough to win.
There was some ESPN. There was some ESPN.
I would pull my cap off too, but I'm not wearing a cap.
Don't worry, I need to shave. We ain't gonna worry about that. Once again,
have a little hair.
The teams in the ACC, I think if we did go to the championship match, Georgia Tech really doesn't look that good. Haynes King is the key. Their defense last week, Syracuse doesn't look that good, but they had opportunities. Duke the week before couldn't get in the end zone, kept turning the ball over. We can beat them. We can beat everybody on the schedule. Just win. No more to say. I'll be back in Miami next week for Syracuse. As a matter of fact, is that their homecoming? They haven't had their homecoming yet, right? Miami.
No, I think Syracuse is.
Yeah, Syracuse, because the next week is
State, obviously. I don't
yeah,
know.
Yeah. But other than that, hey man, we're gonna have a great time. Let's win. Let all the other people complain and fuss, but it's so much you can talk about. But hell, I ain't got time. I gotta watch these people pump gas. Love the 305. Just ride or die. See you next time, fellas.
All right.
All right, Kane.
By the way, did you see these stats? I don't know how accurate they are, but supposedly from ESPN's playoff predictor that if Miami is in the ACC title game and loses the ACC title game, like if Miami wins out and loses the ACC title game, they have a 55% chance of being in the playoffs. If they win out and aren't in the ACC title game, they have a 97% chance of making the playoffs. That's sort of what I'm talking about, right?
But so what?
Okay.
If you
I just want to be in the playoffs.
On a neutral
the
field,
ultimate goal.
How the hell are you going to go beat Ohio State?
If your ultimate goal of the season is to be in the ACC title game, then I agree with you. If your ultimate goal is to be in the playoffs, then I disagree with you.
Has to be part of it. Has to be. All right. Sebastian's like he wants a piece of you, Matt. We're gonna go to Sebastian. He's holding up his sign. Matt hasn't really been on. Wait, what's that one say? Wait, your screen locked up, Sebastian, and your microphone. Let's
Matt, leave the officer alone.
There he is. Leave Shannon Dawson alone. Yeah,
I'll leave Shannon Dawson alone. I'm not sure what it means. You're on mute, Sebastian. You're on mute.
There you go.
Okay. First of all, I got to give Matt props. He was right. I didn't think we were going to cover against Stanford, and we did. It didn't look like that in the first half, but, I mean, I thought it was a stretch to say we were a 30-point favorite, and we actually ended up beating them by 30 points.
They're a terrible team. It was shocking how bad we played in the first half.
They're a terrible team, but, Miami really was a different team in the second half than it was the first half. The way the first half was going, we were in trouble.
They didn't seem like Miami did not seem like they wanted to be there for the first half. Like I've seen that in the past. I never expected to see that from a Mario Cristobal team. I was shocked at the apathy I saw on the faces and the demeanor. And you read body language and players over the years, and they didn't want to be there. Like, I don't know why or what or wherefore or fill in the W word. But when they came out in the second half, man, they were just back to business. Like that's how they got to be for four quarters. If they do that, they'll be fine.
The player that I watch in relation to energy is Inez Cooper. If Inez Cooper, because he's the one that shows a little bit more excitement and passion, and if he's amped up for a game, then that really the regular team. I don't see it out of Marinoa. I don't see it out of the other offensive linemen. So I'm always watching Inez Cooper, and he's kind of like my barometer on how we're gonna play. So. Yeah. That's what I want to see. But the reason why I say leave Shannon Dawson alone is because I don't know if he's influenced by Mario in relations to how he has to actually call the games, where he's a little bit hamstrung. But what I would like to see from Shannon Dawson, I thought it was a fair question. And I thought, he gave a decent answer. I think this is what he's just comfortable with. But as we get into later in the season, a lot of teams are defending us a lot better and scheming us up. And if we don't do something about it, we're going to be in trouble.
I mean, from what I was told, Dawson was asked to figure out a way to play complementary football on offense because Mario Cristobal recognized, and I think it was probably correct, at the time, he recognized that last year's defense suffered tremendously because of how quickly the offense was scoring. And the defense was getting worn down at the end of games. If you noticed, the defense couldn't stop anybody by the end of the game. They were exhausted. They didn't have depth. And Mario recognized this year the same issue could exist where they have pretty good starters, but not much depth. And if the starters are playing 80 reps a game, they're going to be done for by the end of the fourth quarter. So he sort of, I guess the idea would be to have a better time of possession offense, more of a grinded out offense, a game manager, a quarterback, which is what Carson Beck is to a great extent, right? And that would help keep the defense fresh, which is what they've done. But what Mario didn't recognize was that when you do that to an offense, sometimes the offense will sputter. And if you're playing a team that's sort of figuring out your defense early on or late in the game or whatever it may be, now you're in a dogfight that can go either way, which is what happened against Louisville. And it could happen again. Like, that's sort of the risk you take when you shorten a game, right? If you're playing 60 plays instead of 80, and if you're this much better than the other team, this much shows up the more you play, right? If you play a game for 1,000,000 years and you're this much better, you're going to be this much better by the end of 1,000,000 years. But if you play a very short period of time, you can't tell. And Shannon Dawson literally pointed to that himself this week when he said, every first half's a close game. The second half is when you pull away. He's making, Mario's system is making the full game, not a half, but not the same full game of 80 plays, 90 plays that it was last year. It's now 70 plays or 65 plays.
But here's where it catches up to you. If you don't start fast, if you get down 14-0 against Louisville or some of these other teams, that's where we seem to really struggle, because I think it takes Shannon Dawson out of his element. I'm going to give you 2 examples of what I'm talking about. For some reason, we struggle like no other team in 3rd and long. If we get behind the sticks and it's like 3rd and 8, it's like we absolutely struggle. I don't know if he just doesn't have enough plays in his arsenal where we can get, first downs on long yardage or whatnot. But you can see a pre-snap penalty. If I see a pre-snap penalty, we're probably punting the ball, because we get behind the sticks, right? And we just cannot recover from that 3rd and long. The other thing is, I don't know if you guys see this, but what does our pre-snap motion looks like before the play? I just think we're too predictable. Like, there's not a lot of pre-snap motion. There's not.
No, it's pretty non-existent.
Yeah, I don't see any. He's finally doing.
Well, you'll see the receivers going,
but I don't see no jet sweeps and stuff like that. No. Pitches to the outside. It's just
there was one jet sweep each of the last 2 games.
Yeah,
and they both worked.
They both worked.
But one of them shouldn't have. One of them, Malachi Tony, should have been tackled for an 8-yard loss, and the guy's just a freak. I mean, that was unbelievable, that play.
He's good. But
unbelievable.
It's another thing that you make the defense prepare for. And I think it kind of opens your offense out. You don't have to run it, but it's just something about just making the other defense prepare a lot more than it used to. But pre-snap penalties, 3rd and long, I just seem like we just really struggle with that, and we just can't get ahead of it. I wanted to talk to you guys because I wanted to get your sentiment on a couple of things. The commitment we got tonight out of Milan Perez, does it still mean that we're still going to be able to keep that wide receiver from I think it's from North Carolina? Are we still recruiting him? Or he's
I don't think they're dropping any of the other receivers that they've already gotten committed. This is the 4th receiver commit.
The Evans guy. Okay, so we're gonna keep that wide receiver
as long as he still wants to come. Yeah, they're not going to drop him, I don't think.
Okay.
Remember, there's no limit. It's 105 scholarships, not 85. Remember that. Okay. So it's not like
I just haven't heard anything like he's been on a visit, like he like official or unofficial. So I just wasn't hearing any noise from him. The other thing I want to talk about is how encouraged are you guys with the play of our young offensive linemen? I was watching the Stanford game later in the 4th quarter, and like Plaus and those guys looked okay.
Yeah, it's a good looking group.
I mean, you can't.
What do you think?
You can't tell against the Stanford 2nd team line on defense, but those guys are talented. They're going to be fine. They're going to be really good. The question is, will they be really good next year?
Okay. And my last comment is, I already said we got to start fast against SMU. I don't think we're going to be in a dogfight. If we don't start fast, I think we're going to be in a dogfight. I do predict us. I do believe we're going to win. I don't know if we're going to cover 10 points, but I do think we need to start fast. Could you guys talk about, do you see any positive impact with the firing of Brian Kelly at LSU in relations to how does that benefit Miami in any way on any potential recruits, or just
I don't think it impacts it at all. I don't think maybe they'll decide to go after 1 kid or 2 kids on their commit list, but right now it doesn't matter.
Okay. And the last comment, and y'all can go on to the next one, is Matt, you got to tell me the keys to the game and what do we need to do to beat SMU in Dallas, so I won't have a sign for you next week.
Oh my Lord. I literally just I just wrote this today, so I guess I'll have to give you a sneak preview now, since anybody who listens to this for this long probably deserves it. And by the way, the post of the day, or the message post, whatever, the message on the right hand side of the screen, I don't know, but it goes to where was it? It was pretty funny. Hold on, I gotta find it. Here, Canes Raw. He said, Shannon Dawson said that every gap is the A gap. I like that one. All right, 5 keys. You want every key? Should I just give you the headlines without the whole explanation, and you could figure out what I'm trying to say?
You just tell me. I already told you.
I'll give you the headlines, and you'll have to read it on game day to figure out what they mean. And I always edit them and look at them again the day before just to make sure they still make sense. But key 5 is feed the fans. You got to figure out what that means. 4, play better. Does that make sense to anybody? Number 3, stop the pass. Number 2, Beck on track, not back on track, Beck on track, because I'm so witty. And then number 1 is, of course, start fast.
There we go. I totally agree. I hope to see you next week with no sign.
All right, Sebastian. Thanks for coming by, man. We'll see you next week.
See you, Sebastian.
No signs.
No sign.
This is a funny comment. Next press conference, G Nice wants us to ask Shannon Dawson if a mobile quarterback would better fit his scheme. So Carson Beck is his quarterback, and you want us, G Nice, to ask him if he would prefer to have a mobile quarterback over the quarterback that he's going to war with now. I don't think we're going to ask that question.
You know what? I would love if Shannon Dawson would let us just give him questions from fans to answer at the podium, and he could pick which one to answer. He would have a heart attack.
So we don't have to take responsibility. All right, Matt. I know you want to go to bed.
That's it. Bedtime. I've been asleep for half the show. You just didn't notice it. All right. Goodbye, everybody.
Any parting thoughts?
No. I don't have any parting thoughts. I just hope that Miami plays well and plays for 4 quarters and doesn't get worse as the season goes along and gets better as the season goes along. Is that too much to ask? That's my you don't have a New Year's wish, an October's wish? I don't know, a Halloween wish. That's my Halloween wish.
All right. Good night.
See you.
We'll see you next week. All right. Let me there he is. Let me bring in the voice of the fan, Bruce Warner. And Bruce, welcome back to CaneSport Live. I'll give you the floor here for a moment. Your opening thoughts on the Stanford game and going into SMU, just the overall state of affairs.
Stanford game. Again, near stroke, near heart attack, first half. Can't believe what I was watching. The second half, we were a lot better. I just don't understand after 7 games. When you look at it now, globally, the inconsistency of this team is incredible. Do you agree with that? They're so inconsistent.
Very.
From one series to the next. They're so unpredictable, but they're predictable. And it's gonna lead to something bad, whether we fail to make the playoffs altogether, if we lose another game, or we get in the playoffs. But I don't know. I can't put my finger on what's wrong. I know everybody's looking at Dawson. I'm not thrilled what I see. I don't know whether there's a stranglehold on him from Mario. You might know that more than I do.
You were thrilled at the beginning of the year. You didn't have a problem.
But I kept on saying,
they had 210 yards.
What the hell happened when we blew a 21-7 lead against Notre Dame? What happened against Florida when we should have blown them out? It was 13-7 in the fourth quarter. What happened against Florida State in the fourth quarter? And then it's 14-0 in the first quarter with Louisville. That's 33 points in a row. So, again, in this game, they got 7 in the first half, barely, and then they blow them out with 35 points, consecutive points, in the fourth quarter. Inconsistent. And I still maintain, and I agree with you, I heard what you said in the first hour, there needs to be an overall philosophy change. And not overall, but they have so many weapons, but they're not taking advantage of it. Like, for instance, I'll give you for instance, Malachi Toney is a magnet. When he gets the ball, you look at the screen, you see all these people converging on him and trying to tackle him. Use him as a decoy. If you did a fake end around with him, I'll bet you the entire defense goes along with him. And all Beck has to do is just roll out and dump it off. Or this is the play I said before on a different show. Whenever they have that little screen where Malachi comes toward Beck and Beck throws to him, and he's like behind the line of scrimmage, and he takes off. if you look at the screen, there's about 7 or 8 defenders. Why not put Josh Moore on the left, fake it to Malachi, you freeze everybody, and let Josh go down the field, probably with a corner on him, and take your shot. That's how you can get him more open, by using Malachi as a decoy. He'll still get his catches, but you got to be creative. And I think what I'm seeing is the lack of creativity. Maybe they're doing what they're doing well at certain points of the game, but they should be way more creative. The defense is not last year's defense. So if you're a better defense, take some chances. Unless, and I don't know it, maybe you do. I know they tried to put the kibosh on Beck throwing deep, but you got to let him play. He can't be nervous about making a mistake. Let him play.
Coach him up and let him go do better. But,
right, but I still think they need to create some better play. I believe. And the other thing is, what prevents Dawson from telling Beck, take a direct snap under center? What is he, crippled? He can do it. And then don't toss sweeps, play action. You can't do those things from a shotgun. So put him under center for a couple of plays, and that'll screw up the defense because they haven't seen it.
Now they're playing with 5 golf clubs instead of 13.
Right. Correct. That's a great way to put it. I agree, Gary. There's
playing 18 holes with 5 golf clubs. Can you do it?
3 of them are putters.
You can do it, but it doesn't mean you're going to have the right club for the yardage when you get to that tough hole. Yeah. And you need to be more precise.
I don't care about the point spread this weekend. I don't care. They have a lot of injuries. Rhett Lashley. He saw what Louisville did to us. He's not stupid. He's going to throw. That kid's hurt. He's not going to stand in the pocket, or he's not going to take off. Quick drops. He's in the shotgun anyway, that kid, most of the time. And they'll do the same crossing routes and the same plays that Louisville did until we stop it. That's what I think. I think he's going to do, right?
No, I don't know what the plays will be, but he'll have a plan. I know that.
He will.
They screwed up last week and lost the game. Yeah. They shouldn't have lost,
Right.
But
they shouldn't have lost it. If they would have beaten us, they would have been in pretty good shape.
They will control the ACC, SMU, because they play Miami and Louisville both at home. So it'll be interesting.
They don't play Virginia or Georgia Tech, do they?
No, but Virginia's going to lose to somebody. They should have lost North Carolina.
Everybody says that, but so far they haven't.
No, they found a way to win, but I feel confident they will lose 1 or 2 games.
Yeah. Well, I don't think
Georgia. I hope I'm right.
Georgia Tech's good. What do they have left? Piper High, Stranahan, and who else? They don't really play anybody this year. What a schedule!
All right, let's go out to Adam. Adam, welcome back to CaneSport Live.
Oh my God, Adam! When is the last time you saw sunlight? Holy, look at you, man! You're like a caveman.
Thanks. It's called having a 2-year-old keeping you up. But anyway.
That's what it's called?
Okay. Yeah. A couple things. One, Gary, on the basketball front, 2 questions. One, do you see Sheldon Henderson starting day 1? And 2, can he be like a Lonnie Walker and one and done?
Yes, and yes. Yeah. Probably a lot there's no similarity in the 2 players. Lonnie Walker was
no, but I meant in terms of
but yeah, Henderson is a grown man. He has an NBA body right now. He's not an NBA player right now, but that doesn't seem to matter at the NBA. They'll draft guys based on potential. So yeah, I would be shocked if he's not a one and done.
Okay.
But we'll see what kind of season he has. I mean, he may decide he wants to come back another year and improve his game. I mean, he, I think his shooting probably is in the early stages of development. Not a lot different than Keyshawn George was a couple years ago, and he got drafted. So I don't know. Get these. He's making $1 million this year.
Okay.
So I don't know how much that's a game changer in the decision-making process for these kids that are projected as one and dones. But you'll see this guy. He is some good-looking athlete, and it'll be interesting to see how his season goes.
Right, he's going to have to decide. He could come out, and if his draft position is very high, even if he needs work on his game, he's probably out.
Okay.
And I think that's probably true. If his draft position is between 12 and 20 something or other, he may or may not come back. It just depends.
Oh, if he's getting drafted in the first round, he's going to go.
Yeah, there's a lot of money in there.
Yeah.
Okay. A couple other things with the commit, and first I'll do recruiting and then the team itself. With the commitment of Milan Paris, do you still think we're going to go after Calvin Russell, or do you think we're done at the receiver position?
I don't know the answer to that. It's too soon here after the fact. So far they up to this point they were open to Russell and the Jason Lopez kid. Okay. Whether this is a game changer now, we'll know more in the coming days.
And also, you don't know with the firing of Kelly at LSU if players that we previously recruited on the LSU roster, like a DJ Pickett, would be in play in the portal or not.
I don't know if DJ Pickett's playing so well for LSU to the point that they would go back there. I don't know.
Okay. Or players like that.
They could. Okay. I mean, they could. If he goes in the portal, they could take a shot with him. Okay. Booker's still on the team, but Mario's not a big fan of guys rejecting them in recruiting and then wanting to circle back a year later. I don't think he's a huge fan of that.
Okay.
He doesn't want to be people's second choice.
Also, what did you guys think of the play? I mean, granted, it was against Stanford, and take it with a grain of salt, but I thought, especially in the second half, as we wore him down, Jordan Lyle also looked like he's coming back from his injury, and he's as close to 100% as he's going to be, especially on that touchdown run late.
Oh yeah, he faked that guy out of his jock, his socks, and his underwear. Yeah, that was some move, but that's why he needs to be in space, and that's why I keep saying toss sweeps to a kid like that. Yeah, that creates a lot of problems. They got to get the ball to even on screens or swing passes. He's dangerous in the flat. He's not as dangerous running up the middle.
Okay,
that's why I said last week. I remember seeing it. You're going to let Fletcher go up the middle. You're going to let Brown go up the middle. Why would you let him go up the middle? It defeats the purpose of what his talent is.
Okay. And what kind of running back is this Gerald Pringle? I mean, I saw he scored again late. Is he more in between the tackles kind of running back, or is he more bounce it to the outside and go?
I mean, I'm sure the preference would be bounce it to the outside. He's not as big as Mark Fletcher, but he's a good back. I mean, he's just caught in the numbers game right now. Whether he sticks it out to a greater degree than like the Brashard Smiths of the world, the Christopher Johnsons of the world remains to be seen. But Gerard Pringle can play, man. He's good.
Okay. And what about his teammate? Has Kellen Wiley even played at all?
Yeah, he's played. I saw him out there. I saw him in the Bethune game.
He could play 4 games and still redshirt.
Right.
Okay. So he'll be one of those who's a redshirt candidate?
Right now it looks that way.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's got a big upside, though.
It makes sense. Total sense.
Yeah.
Okay.
You don't need to waste him.
Okay. Actually, that's all I have for tonight. Have a great rest of the show.
All right, Adam. Thank you for being.
Thanks for calling, buddy.
Thank you for being part of it. Bruce, we haven't gotten your opinion on this. We had a roundtable on CaneSport this week about this subject of the ACC, and Matt was of the opinion of who cares about the ACC championship. All that matters is the playoff. Don't bother going to Charlotte and playing in an ACC title game. I totally disagreed. I think it's important that this program wins something after all these years of winning absolutely nothing.
Right.
And one team in the entire country is going to be happy at the end of that playoff. Everybody else is going to get beat. Okay. Right. The ACC, the conference championship, is something that you can win that will last, forever. And it's an accomplishment. If you're going to play in a league and have a conference, why would you not want to win that conference?
Not only that, Gary, but you get the bye. You should get a bye in that first round.
If you run the table here, yes, you will get. Yes, right. If you run the table and win the conference, you're in the top 4. You're going to get a bye.
Right.
So
that's what I want. I want the bye in the first round. Not that we're not playing in the title game, so we sit around for a week and then we go into the playoffs ranked 9 or 10. I don't want that. I want to be the ACC champion. It helps recruiting, and you want to have a bye in the first round. That's what I agree with you. That's why we got to keep winning.
No doubt. All right, let's go to Rocky. Rocky, welcome back to CaneSport Live. How you doing tonight?
Mr. Ferman, how we doing tonight, sir?
We're doing good,
Bruce.
How you doing, Rocky?
Doing pretty well. I'm going to start off every show that I come on. Let me fix this. I'm going to start off every show that I come on now with screw the refs because I'm tired of seeing Ruben Bain getting held every single damn
play. Yeah.
And I mean every single damn play.
Not only held, strangled. They have
Stranglehold.
hands on his neck.
Yeah, stranglehold. It's a stranglehold
Right.
every
It's like
single
the
time. They're doing the
WWE.
arm bars, the WWE arm bar to try to take him down, and he goes down to his feet, and then you watch him crawl, and the kid doesn't complain. He comes off and has a good attitude according to the coaches. But it's sick.
And on top of that, Rocky, the refs are standing right there.
Yeah, they're right there behind him.
Right
the
there,
referee's
right.
right there every single time, staring at him, watching him getting just hog time.
I mean, if you didn't realize it was a guy on the other team, you would think it was a sexual assault. They're all over this guy.
Yeah, it's crazy. I wanted to get on the other guy, Gary, because you can't be scared to go play it for a championship.
I agree.
You can't have that attitude. You can't be scared to go to the ACC championship game and go take on Georgia Tech.
Gary, I wasn't a part of it. So who was against this? Who?
The crab bag.
Oh, it's an ongoing debate.
Yeah.
It's a split down the middle kind of subject.
So the whole premise, Bruce, is we go 11-1 and we get left out of the ACC title game because Virginia and Georgia Tech, in theory, go undefeated, go to the ACC championship game, and then we're in the playoff and we're out of the championship game. And who cares? I mean, to me,
who cares about the ACC title?
Who cares about?
Why are you playing in the ACC?
Yeah, I mean that. I disagree with that.
That's something that should be a given because there's a reward for that. You get a bye, you're in the playoffs, you sit around, you prepare for a team, you know who's playing each other, you can watch that game, and so that's exactly what you want. You want every game should matter. It doesn't matter if it's on Green Tree, it doesn't matter if it's in the parking lot. Every game you play should matter, and that's part of the problem with this team. Going back to Louisville, it does matter, but the opinion if you don't want to go to the ACC title, so you get a week off to get ready. That's nonsense.
Yeah, I don't like that. That's a bad attitude to have.
You're actually not even a runner-up. You're third if you don't get there. Who the hell wants to be third in the ACC with the talent we have? Not me.
But going backwards because I missed the show last week. I mean, anything. I'm gonna be the excuse machine here. Anything to that whole bye week, one game in 21 days or whatever. To that Louisville game, you think, getting us out of rhythm, which is why, Gary, like you said, they looked a little lethargic in the Louisville game. Look, I said it after that game. It's like that was nowhere near the same team that I saw play Notre Dame, play Florida. Not even close.
Or the first three quarters against Florida State, who they dominated.
Sure. I mean,
but Gary, wasn't there something about the recruiting? They were recruiting for a while, and maybe the practices were not as sharp because these coaches were doing other things. It wasn't 100% focused because it looked like everybody on the team was out of sync. Not just
a lot of excuses to make for sure. I mean, I'm just not really that into excuses. I mean, but something was off, and Mario's got to figure out what that was so that it doesn't get repeated in the future. And the team that we saw in the fourth quarter at Florida State, in that we saw in the Louisville game and in the first half of the Stanford game, was not the same team we saw earlier in the year.
Nope.
No. And we as fans are sitting back here watching this having PTSD because we've all seen this movie before. And that was the knock on Miami coming into the season is that, that we fail late, right? We fade late. And this was supposed to be the team that was supposed to change that narrative. And here we are again, sitting here with a loss that we shouldn't have. No chance we should have lost to that Louisville team. Yes, Brahm schemed us up well. Credit to Brahm. They've got some studs, but come on, we missed 26 tackles on defense. We turned the ball over 4 times, and then we were still driving to score to either win or tie that game and take it in overtime, having played terrible. So we were still in it even at that point. To lose that it's just gut wrenching, and you just can't explain it.
Well, mistakes, man. A lot of mistakes.
Yeah, a lot of them. Gary, I appreciate what you did at the press conference there. You were trending after that, by the way.
I was trending?
Yeah, you were.
I mean, I didn't. All I said is is the offensive line a factor in what you decide to do with the running game? I mean,
but you confronted Dawson though. You did it in a nice way and in a formal. Okay, wrong word. You put Dawson in place to try to get him to make us all understand what we're seeing. Gary, I'm sitting back here watching the game against Stanford, and I'm watching the formations, and I'm just a fan, and I'm saying, okay, this is a handoff inside. formation this way. Okay, this is a bubble screen. Okay, like I'm calling these plays, like looking at our formations, and it's just like, how am I able to do this? And I'm not getting them all right, but I'm pretty close.
It's the overriding subject of the fan base right now,
exactly.
and that's why we ask about it.
And I don't get, and I don't agree with, the assumption was made that, okay, he gave a good response. To me, that was all coach speak. Mario said it.
I thought it was BS. I don't want.
Yeah, me too. I thought it was BS. Bruce, we've seen this before, right?
I agree. I think it was BS.
Last year.
Well, here's the funny thing, though, Rocky. I'll bet you, despite what he said, he was very defensive. How much you want to bet he has different plays that we have not seen this year against SMU? Because he's going to go back to the drawing board.
Bench on it, and I would bet we see a toss sweep this week.
Yeah.
Well, he was trying to justify how they ran counter and that was an outside zone. You know what I mean? I mean, he was trying to justify what they were doing as, we ran outside 6 times or whatever.
We see plenty of teams every week run outside out of the shotgun.
We watched Louisville do it all night.
In fairness to Shannon, he clearly has heard enough. Like, it's been, he can't escape how much it's been a topic of conversation.
Yep.
About the run game schemes, and so he wanted to get that off his chest, and I have no problem with some. I like when people are raw. I mean, so many people took notice of that press conference yesterday because Shannon Dawson was raw. And I think that's okay. Like, this is entertainment. This is sports entertainment.
Well,
okay?
But his is a business. It's not entertainment.
Well, entertainment is a business
for us, but for him, it's a business. And I don't know if he's looking to be a head coach or not, but all this negative publicity, it's not going to help.
And Bruce, to me, again, this is where the BS comes out. I get my conspiracy theory month. It's a brain trust. It's Dawson, it's Mario, it's Mirabal, the offensive brain trust that's game planning these games. Gary, look, the reason I say that, Bruce, is because what does Mario say? We want to be physical in the middle. We want to be physical on the perimeter. We want to execute and be physical.
But it's
too
damn predictable. It's too damn predictable.
It's predictable, exactly. But in the brain trust mind, they ought to be able to line up that offensive line that they have and mow down anybody that's in front of them. I don't care if it's 9 guys. I don't care if it's 10 guys. And that can get you by Stanford, okay, because we're better than them. But that's not going to work against Ohio State or Georgia or Bama.
You're going
to run into an 8-foot steel thick wall.
How the hell is Notre Dame ahead of us? We beat them and they have 2 losses. How could that be?
Because they're playing better football.
But
and that's
we're
what
winning.
people are looking at.
But we're winning.
I understand.
Well, we have a better record and we beat them.
But Matt,
I don't say I agree with it. I'm just saying that I see what's happening.
I don't agree with it, Bruce, because if you look at it, everybody noticed when we lost to Louisville, right? We fell in the polls, right? But then we go and we struggle in the first half against Stanford. We get our legs under us and we go beat Stanford and take care of them. But all everybody talks about is how we struggled in the first half. Nobody talks about how Bama almost lost to South Carolina or how Oregon had a crappy game. Nobody talks about that. That's like not even.
Because they hate us. You know that.
Yeah, I know.
Going way back. I mean, not so much when Howard was here, but once Jimmy got here and Jerome was here and those guys, they hated us. And
it's worse now because of the whole SEC ESPN marriage, and I'm just Andrea Adelson and all them you talked about earlier, Gary. I'm just sick of them. I don't even listen to them anymore. It's pointless to listen to them because they come out with all that crap.
And look, the other guy, what's his name? The bald-headed mongoose. What's his name? He's always throwing us under. He's a big Alabama fan.
Talk about Feinbaum?
Yeah, for a while he was on Miami's. He was pushing Miami great. Now he's just the same as he always was.
I mean, look, we're gonna find out over these next 5 games. We go play SMU. I just found out tonight SMU has the 2nd worst passing defense in the country right now.
Really, I thought it was the worst. I heard it was.
I think they're one of the leaders in interceptions at the same time.
134 out of 134 passed it, but they have a lot of picks.
They probably are gambling a lot.
Yeah. And the QB Jennings has thrown a pick in every game that he's played so far this year.
He's going to throw 2 this week. He's hurt. He's going to throw 2. We're going to pressure him. He doesn't have the ability to escape. If you make some stupid mistake, listen, I think we should beat these guys by 15, 20 points easily. I just don't know what's going to happen.
We should. You're right, Bruce, because our philosophy is let's get up by 2 touchdowns and then let's run out the clock. And that's
they're looking at style points, where we get rated, and if we get into the playoffs, is going to matter. I don't want to be 12 or 10 or 11. I want to be 5, 6, 4, something like that. If we can't get to the ACC championship game and win and get a bye, I don't want to be the last seed. I mean, who wants to be that? You got to play better.
Sure, I agree, and I think you're right. I think Lashley's going to peek over at Brahm's film, give Brahm a call, probably.
Wouldn't you?
Sure, absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay. I would. Okay, what did you do?
Yeah, how did you? Braham's interest to help him. I mean.
How did you scheme up those mesh concepts to isolate their middle linebacker in those times when their linebackers couldn't cover in space? How did you get Isaac Brown free? How did you get Chris Brown free? I'd be asking them all those questions.
But maybe that won't happen actually, because Louisville and SMU play each other in a week, so they may not have that conversation. But
no, I don't think they will. But I think Rhett Lashley's smart enough to figure out what happened in that game. There's no reason for him not to do what Brahm did, and let's see what happens. But I don't think he's got the receivers. I think.
No. Lashley Bruce is a competent, capable offensive mind. But I'm with you. I don't think they have the horses.
They don't have the horses. They don't have the horses, right? I think 2 offensive linemen are hurt and might not play. That'll be the end of it for that quarterback. He's going to get it. But let's see.
Yeah, they better bring a rope out for Bain. They're going to need one. I hope Messidor plays too. I
think he's back. He's back. He'll play. I think we're healthy now. I think we'll be okay.
Yeah, but we're all on edge with these last 5 games because here comes November, and again, I'm not
on edge. I'm not on edge. This is a different team. I just don't like what happened between FSU and Louisville. We almost won, but we got caught with our pants down. And Mario's job is to not let that happen again. And I think they need to take advantage of what they were doing in the second half against Stanford and do it against SMU. But expand the playbook.
Wait a minute, Bruce. All they were doing was pummeling them to death.
That's okay.
I don't think it's in the first half. Just the result was.
And the other part of that,
Gary, I said plus add some new additional wrinkles that nobody has seen before, and they should be pretty tough to beat.
And the other part of that, Bruce, was the Stanford game. Our average field position was their 41 because Malachi Toney returned like 3 punts into their territory. So we never really had we had short fields. We didn't have to go in these long extended drives, that we've seen peter out in some of these games, and stall.
Just don't let their fans get involved with it. Just blow them out early in the game. Take the lead and control it. If you want to sit on the ball, sit on the ball. But you just got to jump. You can't let these fans into the game. You just can't.
Build towards the end of the season, when hopefully you will play for both the ACC championship and get in the playoff.
Yep.
And then the
the other guy, he's not here. The other guy will complain and yell and scream.
He can complain all he wants. I have no problem. Yeah, I deal with him.
Greg?
No, Matt.
Matt.
Yeah, Matt wants to back in and have an easy like just go on vacation for a few weeks and don't win anything and somehow mystically be good enough to run the table in the playoff. I don't think it's that easy.
No, you got to win 5 games and then get it. But if we don't get to if we win the 5 games, but we still don't make it to the title game, we just have to deal with it. That's all.
Yeah, That's it. Just go play the next game.
But as long as we play 5 good games, I wouldn't be as concerned.
The good news is for a playoff game, we'll get up. Don't matter where we'll get up. We'll be up for that.
I think
we might not be up for a half full stadium, on 2:30 against Syracuse, or something.
Right.
I don't know.
You got to be up. You got to have your eye on the prize and let that be the motivation.
Agree.
All right, Rocky. Thank you.
Last thing. One more thing. A 30,000-foot view. When is somebody going to do an analysis on these teams that are faltering like us with these 1 losses? Start looking at NIL payrolls and how these big NIL payrolls correspond to where some of these teams losing versus some of these teams that don't have the big NIL payrolls keep on chugging along, like a Virginia and a Georgia Tech. And
That's an interesting
Indiana.
subject, but there's no way to accurately really know what their NIL budgets are. Nobody really announces that, so it's hard to do.
It's a thought. Thanks, Gary.
All right, Ross.
Appreciate
Thank
it.
you, man. We'll
Bruce,
talk to you
thanks.
next week. Come back
Yes,
next
sir.
week. We'll talk to you then. Pinellas Kane. He's gonna. The coach is keeping some of the freshmen that have produced when they play, Moore, Fitzgerald, and Pringle, off the field to avoid having to pay them more NIL money. I don't think so. Josh Moore can make a huge contribution to this team.
Yep.
Just has to get his own act together. Fitzgerald has made a huge contribution. He's still the leader in interceptions. Pringle is just the number 4 running back.
Right, he's right. He's the 4th running back, and that's the end of it.
Yeah, it is what it is. Yeah, there's no great conspiracy there at all. All right, it's time to go to our man Jake, who I'm sure is on his 3rd bottle of wine by now.
Just second glass, that's all. Taking it easy. Taking it easy. Gary, I'm 100% with you and Bruce too, to a degree. If you're afraid of whoever you face, especially this year, it's not like there's a daunting opponent like a Clemson of the past, or even like Florida State when they were 12-0. If you're afraid of Georgia Tech, Virginia, or a rematch with Louisville, you got no business in the playoffs. What's the point? Like, just to say you went to the playoffs to get the shit kicked out of you because you made it? Like, that's the consolation prize as far as I'm concerned. You go to the ACC championship, you play to win.
Unfortunately, Jake, it's not. We don't have control of our own destiny anymore. That's why
we do. We just gotta keep winning.
Debate. No, if we win out, we still might not make it.
So, okay. All right. Here's one thing that frustrates me, and I get it with our fan base because I'm in the same boat. But if you look, why do we assume Virginia's going 12-1 or that Georgia Tech is going undefeated? And yet we can't beat
Look at their schedule. They don't play us. They don't play Clemson. They don't play Florida State. That's why.
If you look at the schedule, it'll make sense. They each have one somewhat difficult.
No. Virginia's got Georgia Tech has got patsies the whole rest of the way. There's no question about that. They should go.
Louisville has SMU.
Louisville's got SMU and Clemson. Yeah, Clemson's diminished, but they're still dangerous.
I think they already beat Clemson.
Louisville? No, they haven't played them yet. I don't think. Anyway,
I'll double check that while you're talking. Go ahead.
Virginia's got Virginia has like escaped death 3 times already this season, and they still got Duke. They got like a couple of other pretty good teams that are as good, if not better, than they are. So yeah, we just got to keep winning. We do control our own destiny. Do we get left out? There's a chance, but keep winning. That's it.
All right, you're right on Louisville. They play Cal and Clemson at home. Then they go at SMU. Those are their. And they're at Virginia Tech this week. So they got Virginia Tech, Cal, and SMU. That's who they've got left.
All those teams are capable of beating them. So why do we assume
Virginia Tech? They're pretty bad.
We'll see. I don't think so.
Virginia Tech played pretty decent last week. They're not great, but they're
Louisville
dangerous.
beat everybody pretty decisively except for Virginia, which they lost to in overtime, and Miami, which picked up the late touchdown to take what would have been a 10-point game and turn it to a 3-point game. But
Louisville's right to the wire. So, it's close, but we're just we need second half Miami, but a couple of things with Dawson. Bullshit, he didn't change the scheme in the second half. He absolutely did. They opened it up a little bit. They ran off tackles several times in the second half. It wasn't just the up the gut. At least 5 or 6 times in the second half. And many of them successful. Pringle was not up the gut on his touchdown, and nor was Jordan Lyle. Those were both off tackle runs that wound up scoring touchdowns. So bullshit that he didn't make any changes. We just stood the course and muscled up. Meathead Mario at his best. We just hit him harder. And no, I mean, yeah, to a degree.
I thought they did pretty much the same things. I just think they did it better. And I thought that Stanford was worn down.
I agree with
that. Unquestionably, but they did change up the run scheme a little bit. It was the first half. It was like out of their 15 runs or so, 13 of them were straight up the gut. In the second half,
your opinion on this? The center has been blown up a lot.
Yeah,
maybe they needed to change that up because they couldn't count on him. He was getting blown up. They had to go off tackle instead of, in the A gap and stuff. They had to because he was getting killed.
Regardless of Brockermeyer's performance, your two best goddamn offensive linemen are your tackles.
That's why I keep saying stop going up the middle. Go off tackle. Go outside.
Like, Maligoa is a top 10 pick, and he is not the forefront feature of your run game. Like, stupid. It doesn't make sense. And I think that's the qualms that the fan base has is like, why is it we are always expected to underperform? Why is it that as teams are getting better as the season progresses, you look Alabama, they started rough, getting better. Notre Dame getting better. Like all these other teams getting better. Why do we always have to get worse?
I don't know about Notre Dame. They lost to us, and they lost to Texas A&M, two really good teams.
Point.
But they lost at home, no less.
Those are two.
Did the offensive line create the touchdowns that Fletcher got, or was Fletcher so damn hell bent on getting in the end zone? Because that's what it looked like to me. He looked like nobody's going to stop me, and he took everybody into the end zone.
He was
possessed.
Yeah.
Jake, I think that as the season goes on, if you're not evolving and you're not getting better, it gets a lot more difficult because, teams now have a half a season of tape that they're breaking down, and they know what you're good at. They know what you're not good at. They know where your warts are. And if you don't have answers and you don't have wrinkles and you don't have completeness to what you're doing, winning gets tougher. And that's what we've been seeing.
That's the thing I think that's frustrating and pissing off fans is that. So I looked it up in the last 20 years since we finished the season. 2004 was the last time we finished ranked in the top 10. And we act like we've never had success. We've had a lot of success in the first half of the season. 7 times in that 20-year span, we have entered the top 10 at the front end of the season, only to get our shit kicked in the back half of the season. And it just seems like I don't know what it is, because it's Mario, it's Manny, it's Mark Richt, whoever else. Richt, I'll give him a pass on that one season because we lost our 3 best offensive players. But Al Golden, Randy Shannon even had a year where we bumped into the top 10. But every one of them falls apart at the back end. And why is it that Miami can't scheme its way, coach its way into a better position and finish? We have the talent. You can't argue the talent isn't there. This team at its best, at least this very year, can compete with any team in college football. But we're just so haphazard. And I think that falls on the coaches to show up with a plan, to execute that, but also to divert from it when needed. It doesn't seem like we're ever utilizing. Tony is just Malachi. Tony's amazing. He's better than Jeremiah Smith. But at any rate,
I don't know about that. I don't think he's going to get drafted.
They're only about 40 yards apart this season, and Jeremiah Smith has a hell of a lot more talent around him in the wide receiver position. Malachi Tony is Malachi Tony. He's pretty much our offense at this point. But that's the point, is that we have other playmakers. Scheme up Jordan Lyle to the best of his ability, which is running to the outside of the perimeter. figure out a way to get Josh Moore involved. He had a great start to the season, and then he just goes away for 5 games. What the fuck? Like, how did he at Notre Dame have like 3 receptions for 50 yards? He had a great game against South Florida, and then we don't see him for 5 weeks. Come on, figure it out.
The guy is a mismatch. He's big, he's strong, he's fast.
Yeah.
Get him out there, even if he's a decoy, send him deep and let him take the safety in the corner down the field. Now you'll have less guys underneath. You'll have you guys will be open on crossing routes, underneath routes, curls. I don't understand it. He should be in the
Boston is open, Tony's open, CJ Daniels. Yeah, like it's just it doesn't seem Gary, you said it early in the program. It's like it would at face value, it would seem that we haven't even begun to tap into the offensive potential on this team, but that's on the coaches.
That's how I feel. And man, I want to say, I want this team. I want the Canes to be back. I want them to legitimately win something, and it's
not just backdoor in and like get our asses kicked in the first round of the playoffs, but to show up ready to play. And we've seen it. It's there. But these coaches have to figure out how to get – and not to say the players don't – Carson Beck pretty much lost us that Louisville game. But
let me stop you right there. But why was he allowed to cost them the Louisville game?
Exactly.
Like that was my thing. Like, why did it get to 4 or 5 interceptions?
Yeah.
Like to me, like you got to be sitting in the box and saying somebody, Shannon Dawson's on the sideline. He can't see the whole thing. He's watching the play. He's watching different things. There's got to be somebody to me up in the booth who's sitting there. Shannon, they are not covering our guys on the perimeter. Like they were taking away the middle of the field, and they were baiting Carson Beck. Knock. They were counting on Carson Beck from Georgia 2024 to show up on the field that night, and he did. And they were baiting him into doing things that were in their favor, and they were ready for those deep balls. But while they were ready for those deep balls, there were guys out on the perimeter who were uncovered. And
or in the flat, Gary.
That's what I mean, in the perimeter, the flat. Yeah, and we saw this a couple years ago, Jake. We were having this conversation pre-Cam Ward 2 years ago when teams were doing that. And I remember specifically thinking back then the same exact thing. Where is the guy in the box who's screaming into Shannon Dawson's ear, we have to go out to the flanks?
Right. Van Dyke didn't see those plays either. We
Correct.
talked about that.
And it's like, we're going to do it. I don't care if we have to do it 5 straight plays. We're going to make them come out of this.
Figure it out.
We're going to make them come out of this defense where they're taking away the middle of the field and limiting our offense. And that's what's missing in my eyes. And I'm not saying I'm right. This is just an opinion. Okay, but to me, they let Carson Beck cost them that game, and it was a dual responsibility. It wasn't just Carson's fault; it was everybody's fault. So now, what I'm saying now is, don't go into a shell over it. Okay, I felt they went into a shell against Stanford last week. Don't go into a shell over it. Expand the offense. Get all your playmakers involved. Go into the month of November, the end of November, into December, with all of your tools working for you.
Yeah. There is Shannon Dawson knows way more than you or I or
massively
Bruce
more,
or any of us individually. But there is a collective knowledge of this fan base that 500 people are not seeing it incorrectly. Like, you can't gaslight me and say you guys just don't get what you're looking at. It's like, no, we do. I get it that it's your job and you're the professional, but either you've got to be better or we're right, one or the other.
Here's the thing.
It's frustrating. Watching them play, it's been frustrating. It's not fun. It's frustrating lately.
Here's the thing, Jake. Okay, we're watching coaches getting fired almost daily. Okay. Now, with those head coaches that are the high profile fight, you have an entire organization of people whose livelihoods are on the line here. Like, they have families, they have homes, they like living in South Florida. This is a high pressure game. They're playing a lot of them for that reason. Now, they can play it like this. You could play it safe the way that they did, let's say, against Stanford. And you might escape SMU because SMU is a beaten up team. We'll see what happens Saturday. You might, I'm going to use the word might because they can score points at times. Lashley's a very good offensive coach. You probably could beat Syracuse at home. You probably can beat NC State at home. But now you got to go to Pittsburgh. Okay. And Pittsburgh is continuously getting better.
Vatek is before them.
Huh?
You have to go to
Vatek.
Vatek first.
Yeah, you could beat Vatek. I left them out. You could beat Vatek doing what you're doing now. But are you going to win that last game of the year at Pittsburgh? Are you going to beat Georgia Tech and Charlotte potentially? And are you going to be able to line up with Ohio State, Alabama, Georgia, Ole Miss, Oregon, and these teams that are more complete teams that can score? I think that's highly problematic.
That's what we should be comparing ourselves to. We shouldn't
100.
be asking, can we backdoor our way in playing conservative? Right. Like, we have more talent than the next 5 teams we play. We should beat all of them, regardless of how bad you coach them. But that's not the goal. That wasn't the goal for the season. It can't be the
goal. But remember, you go 11-1, everybody keeps their jobs. Okay, Mario's not firing anybody. Mario's not making changes. Yeah. You go 11-1, everybody keeps their jobs. So, like, I'll be damned if I'm going to let Carson Beck go out there and throw 4 interceptions again and get us all fired. No, I'm not. So this is what you're fighting, is what I'm saying. You're fighting
going to be on the hot seat, though. If you go 11-1, yeah, you make the playoff, even if you don't make the AC championship game. But like, if we're just looking sloppy and even get into the playoff, everyone knows that wasn't the goal and that wasn't what was obtainable.
Well, it can't be. It can't be.
Your fan base is still going to be.
I understand all this stuff about Dawson, but Beck's got to step it up. He needs to be better. He needs to be more aware of what he's doing and not just throw it. And they need to tell him, if you can't see anybody open in the first 2 or 3 seconds, check it down. Just check it down. Take it. Yeah. Take what they give you. And that's exactly what happens against us. Take what they give you.
He was trying to win the Heisman Trophy that night.
Well, he blew it. I don't know. That should be off the table. Just play better. We need to win. We have the talent to beat anybody on any given night. But and when you look at the Florida State first 3 quarters, have we played any better this year than that? Oh my God, we dominated them. They looked terrible. We looked spectacular. But that was 3 quarters of 7 games, and there's no consistency. That's why you can't even look at the games that they play and say, well, they're going to do this, they're going to do that. We don't know.
Well, you can't go to sleep for 20 minutes at a time and expect,
kidding.
They play 40 great minutes every game and then 20 horrible minutes. You got to find a way.
Last week it was 30-30, wasn't it? Pretty much.
Yeah.
Listen, this is a very good football team. I think everybody wants the same thing. We want to see them get to the finish line.
Yep.
I don't know what that is.
Satisfy you, Jake? Getting into the playoffs and winning 1 game, or going all the way to the title or nothing? Is it all or nothing?
This is a weird year because, I think this is a lot like that 2007 year where everyone finished 11-2. I don't see a team. Ohio State is very good. I don't believe Indiana. They're not.
They're pretty good. I wouldn't say that. I'm convinced they're good.
You know what? The Big Ten this year, very overrated.
Penn State's horrible.
Penn State blew it. Michigan and USC are so. They're ho-hum.
Illinois lost 2 or 3 games already. They'll continue. Yeah,
so you've got Indiana and Ohio State. Oregon looks pretty good. It's better than the ACC, but is it SEC level? Not even close. And even the SEC.
Yeah, they're not so great.
No. So I don't see any. But that's why I have such high expectations. Is this is a year where you could take it all the way. If you were on your game week after week after week, you could take it all the way.
Well, it should start this Saturday at noon because we should beat these guys. We should steamroll everybody except for Pitt. And it's going to be cold. I just hope it doesn't snow or it's sleet or rain and whatever. I hate that. But if it's cold, we'll be fine. You know, as long as we're making the plays and not hurting ourselves.
You know what? Fuck the cold weather too. These guys all want to play in the NFL. Guess what? NFL players play in Chicago. NFL players play in Buffalo. Learn to do it. Greg Rousseau is freezing his ass in Buffalo and still playing and getting it done. That's what you're going to have to do.
I hear you. I'm not using that as an excuse. I just hope it's cold.
I get you. But yeah, we got to you got to win. So if it's cold, you got to win in cold. That's how they do it in the NFL. Get it done. Yep. 3 touchdowns. We'll see what happens. I'm calling it again. 3 touchdowns this week. We should kick the shit.
Could be. You might be right.
All right, Jake.
I think 35-20 maybe is 15 points.
I like 35-12.
No, they're not going to score just 12. They just scored 12, didn't they?
They're field goals. Yeah, they can't get in the end zone.
I just want us to play good, stay healthy, and get ready for the week after. That's all. Just start getting better. If we struggle against these guys, even if we win, we all know what everybody's going to say. Here we are in November. We're going to get worse. That's Gary's opening statement was, we don't want to get worse. It's scary.
No,
but I don't believe in these jinxes. That's why I wore number 13 when I was playing basketball in high school. I was against the jinx. And I was.
Got to score more points, man. Got to score more points.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, we got to be in the 30s this week.
I agree.
That's the name of the game.
And the only way you're going to score more points is to make a little bit more happen offensively.
Yeah, defense will handle business. You gotta get these guys.
Throw the Stanford game out. That doesn't count. You can't judge off the Stanford second half. Yeah. All right, Jake. We'll see you next week.
Catch you guys later. Thanks again. Have a good week.
All right, Bruce. Before we go, I just want to. There's some of these comments that I want to try to touch on here because there's a few interesting questions. Pinellas Ken is asking, is Mohamed Toure hurt? He looks like he's running in quicksand when in coverage. Listen, everybody at this point of the season probably has something that's hurting or sore or whatever. I don't believe that Toure has anything major going on. He's out there playing. So no, I don't think there's any
Look,
real.
He's a big hitter, but he's not exactly a cover guy. And in some of these plays, which Pinellas is talking about, I understand what he's saying. He's dragging behind some of these guys.
Yeah, Youssef is saying everyone should stop complaining that a lot of teams struggle. True. But do you want to be like a lot of teams, or do you want to be better than all these teams? You have a really good team here this year. This is a team built for the end of the season, and they need to get there in a state of being that allows them to have a chance. You want to win the ACC title. I don't care what Matt says, otherwise, what are you playing in the ACC for to never win the ACC title? Miami's never won the
They only played in the title game once, and Clemson destroyed them.
Got destroyed. Yeah, you have to want to. You have to want to do it. All right. Well, I think that's going to about do it for tonight, Bruce. I mean, we've covered a lot of ground. I'm just looking here real fast to see if we missed anything. Let's see. Alec Cohn is saying, remember where we thought we'd be before the season and be happy. We won the state. We beat Notre Dame. Yes. But everything else is cherries. No, absolutely. Everything else is not cherries. Winning the state and beating Notre Dame was a means to the end. At the end being win an ACC championship, make the college football playoff, be competitive. I don't think you could say win the national championship as an end all be all, because only one team's going to win the national championship. Right. 11 other teams in the playoff are going to lose. Yep. Are going to get beat. So I don't know that that you have to say if you don't win the national championship, that it's a bad season.
I think we have to get into the playoff and win at least the first game. That would mean there's only 6 teams left or something like that. Right? No,
Yeah.
there's 8. There's
Yeah,
8,
but the point is, if you get to Charlotte and you get in the playoff, this is a successful season no matter what happens in the playoff.
Right.
You know, I think that's indisputable. So anyway, I want to thank everybody that participated tonight. Thank everybody that watched the show this evening. I hope we covered a lot of ground to your satisfaction. We will be back tomorrow night with the Lamar Thomas Show, 8 o'clock, same time, same channel. Until then, for Matt Shodell and Bruce, I'm Gary. Thanks for being part of the show tonight, and we will see you next time, everybody.